What happens in Georgia gets revealed one by one as the facts are unsealed. From the pit comes what they don't want you to see. When the daily nugget of truth is dropped with your host, BKP.
All right, folks, how are you today? I am your host, BKP, and you're watching BKP Politics on voiceofruralamerica.com. It is great to see you today. Don't forget our Substack. Our Substack is Vora, V-O-R-A, Vora at BKP Politics. Then we have our YouTube, Rumble, what else do we have? X, Facebook, Voice of Rural America. So let's start out. Let me. I don't want to go too far. I want to be clear because we have new viewers every day, and I appreciate the messages, the kind words, but there's a couple things here that we study politics. And we really do. We study politics. And sometimes I can be misunderstood. Don't misunderstand me. We study politics. And one, I do not endorse candidates. If I endorse a candidate, I will look at the camera. I don't even like the whole endorsement thing. But I'll look at the camera and I'll say, I endorse this candidate. I'll make it very clear. You never's a big word. You never tune in here and get any information that I've been paid for, that anyone's paid me to say, an interview someone pays me to do. Doesn't happen. You can trust that. I'm not going to let anything ruin what you and I have. So someone yesterday, and I don't want to go to the level of anger and say that, but someone asked me about supporting someone yesterday. I do not equivocally, I look you in the eye and say, I do not support or endorse Burt Jones. Now, I'm not telling you I dislike the lieutenant governor. I know him. But I think it's very important for the voters to know who Rick Jackson may be as a candidate, who the guy really is in some ways, a lot about his business background, so you can make the best decision when you're voting for governor. Now, if you go to our Substack and you go down through there, you will find full reports on Burt Jones, ties with his family, ties with businesses, whatever it may be. So I'm looking you in the eye because I'm going to don't tell me you're MAGA. I think what's starting to upset me, and you're going to hear this today, and I said to myself, don't go on there and say, what the hell, and don't go on there and throw damn it's out today, and don't go on there and throw damn it to hell, and don't do that. Just try to stay calm and put it out, okay, in a calm way. But if you're misleading voters, that angers me in a campaign, okay? That angers me. Because I followed campaigns for years. Herschel Walker, Kelly Loeffler's, Brian Kemp's, David Perdue's, Donald Trump's. I mean, list goes on. I have followed campaigns, Doug Collins, Marjorie Taylor Greene's. I mean, I have followed campaigns all across the state of Georgia for years. And I know how their communications directors work. I know how they stage, and they do, how they stage questions in an audience. I know how they set up an audience before they get there. Yes, I know how it works. So if a candidate is what I feel misleading voters, I'm going to highlight that. It upsets me. And when it comes to MAGA, we've had the discussion. Where are my hats? I don't know where my hats are. But Make America Great Again, MAGA, okay? Do not tell me you're MAGA or Make America Great Again or support Donald Trump if you cannot prove you're MAGA and support Donald Trump. Don't tell me if you can't prove it. All right? And look, the one frustrating thing to me is trying to shift Trump voters over to Rick Jackson. When I say Trump voters, the base, over the Rick Jackson for governor, masked as a true MAGA Trump supporter, and move those voters away from another candidate with false information. You got it? I mean, that's all I'm saying. Now, the hard base, we'll call it the hard base, they're not in the tank for Brian Kemp. They're not in the tank for Liz Cheney. They're not in the tank for Brad Raffensperger. They're not in the tank for Geoff Duncan. Don't blank and tell me it's raining. Don't do it. So, because we're going to do another segment, I am getting a little frustrated with Rick Jackson. And I'll tell you why today. And I want your opinion. Push back. Tell me, email me. Tell me what you think. Push back. Tell me where it's possible I'm wrong. Because usually I'm not. Oh my God. I love it. Tell me where there's that slim possibility that I'm wrong. And when I say usually I'm not, I try to do my research to a point that when I look at the camera, I know of what I speak. I know it. That's what I try to do. So push back. Tell me where you see a difference. I'll lay my case out to you. That's who I'm talking to. Not Burt Jones, not Brad Raffensperger, not Chris Carr, not Rick Jackson. And let me start again. I'm getting started. Let's get started, right? I'm going to once again say, I have offered the Jackson campaign a fair, balanced, respectful interview one-on-one where he can clearly answer to the voters he is wooing. For those kids out there, ask your mom and dad. Well, maybe even your mom and dad if you're like this young. Well, wooing. Well, I know the voters in the room, the senior citizens, don't get mad. I know they know what wooing is, right? Because he's packing the rooms. He is. And someone sent me a picture this morning from up in Winder. It said, hey, what do you think about this? And I looked at the room in Winder with all of the people in there at this Golden Corral, and I said, yes, it's a room full of retired people. Easy. A room full of retired people who, you know what? They've gotten 15 mailers from the guy, and they go home and they see his commercial on Fox News 97, 11, 85, 12 times a day. Or an hour. So they come out to see who he is. I mean, They're home watching Fox News. Rick Jackson has the Fox News viewers, the senior citizens that are retired, showing up in massive numbers. He does. But if you were getting, 19 mailers a day and half of them had Trump on the face and half of them, you don't do the research, I understand. And Fox News is on there showing you TSA lines winding all the way around and blaming Democrats for it, right? And every time they go to commercial, you see 4 Rick Jackson commercials. Why, yeah, you go to Golden Corral, you get up and you go to Golden Corral and you check the guy out. I get it. I wasn't going to start there, but I'm so far into it, I have to go there. That is actually my third story of the day. So let's go ahead and go with it. I mean, I was thinking about doing the story on Brian Kemp and Derek Dooley that's out this morning, and we're going to do that. And I was thinking about doing the 9th and 14th district again, but I have the Rick Jackson story, so let's go with it. So I've gotten phone calls from trusted people. And when I say that, I'm going to be very clear. When you do campaign events, first of all, Rick Jackson has when this is what you get in the mail, all right? Let me go right here. We're going to start right here. So, let's see. Wait a minute. I hold on just a second. Oh, I see what happened. All right. So when you go and every day, this is the mailer. All right. Every single day, this is in the mail. And this is where, all right, we will work with President Trump to make Georgia #1 in criminal deportations. Well, I can't say if Rick Jackson had his way about it, Trump would be in jail. But according to the donations, now wait a minute, according to the donations, if Rick Jackson's donations had any way about it, he wouldn't be president of the United States. If his donations had any way about it, he would be putting out, well, I don't know if she would have won, his picture with Nikki Haley or his picture with someone else. Vivek Ramaswamy. But not Donald Trump. Here's where I'm frustrated. Is we will work with President Trump to make Georgia #1 in criminal deportations. Now, this man has enough money to buy an enormous team. And my phone's ringing off the hook with, and I'm going to look in the eye. If you are a GOP chair out there of your county GOP, disclose if you're being paid. I know, throw shit at the damn, I told you I was going to try not to do that. Throw it at the damn screen. Please, if attorneys are standing by, if you are being compensated to work for Rick Jackson, it's only fair to your party, your constituents, that, at your county meetings or whatever, let them know if you're getting paid. Rumor, it's politics. Oh no, he's reporting rumor. No, I'm not reporting rumor. It's politics and it's flying. And there's things that are starting to add up where his campaign's concerned. So, if you're getting this in the mail every day and he's portraying himself as the greatest Donald Trump guy, we're going to show you some stuff. Now, I got this message earlier today. It was on Facebook or X, and this is Patricia Murphy with the AJC. In Winder, Public Service Commissioner Bubba McDonald endorsed Rick Jackson in the GOP primary for governor. I was the first statewide elected official to endorse Donald Trump for president. Today, he's in Barrow County, the 10th district. Today, I'm also the first statewide elected official to endorse Rick Jackson for governor of Georgia. All right, so he's up there. He endorses. Okay. I want you to caption, because this might be the last day you've ever watched this program. Might be it. This might be it. There's only one of two things can happen here. Well, there's 3, 4, or 5, but one of two. Is the last time you ever view the show, or you share this show with 20, 30 people because the content is amazing. I'm going to just tell you, because it's truth. It's truth. I want you to send me a caption of this picture. Caption. Tell me what this picture says to you. All right? I will tell you when I'm done with the show today. I'm not even going to do it till I'm done with the show. So let's get started here. So this is in Augusta, Georgia, okay? This is in Augusta, Georgia. Rick Jackson's down there somewhere. He's got a full room, right? Now, the campaign is calling ahead, right? They're working with people, and this is what I'm being told. I'm being told that the campaign is staging people in the room to sit in certain places, getting people in the room, certain people to shake hands with him. That's what I'm being told. Phone's ringing off the hook. All right? Now, when I got a call and said a certain question was set up, this is what I was told. I know I keep saying that. But I get a call and I said, you know what? I want you to know about the question and how he answered it. So I listened. And I said, who asked this question? Do you think it was set up? Absolutely, it was set up. So, he has the money. He is going into every district. He is letting people know, he's putting it out there. If you know someone that can chair the area for volunteers, we're paying. Okay, it's politics. But if anything crosses lines of misleading you, that's where I have a problem. And his story is great. We always talk about that. We go back, the story is great, okay? 9 years old, I think, driving his mom home drunk in a car, couldn't see over the steering wheel, going through how many foster care homes in his life. He went through struggles. So he has tough skin, and he learned how it works in the projects. I get it. Now, what will happen is your campaign team, everywhere you go, they will call the chairman in that county, generally, ask the chairman how many people they can get out. They'll call different people and get people to these events. All right? That's number one. So, again, my understanding is he's staging questions in the room. This is my understanding. And I'm going to show you why I'm saying this. I don't just say something. No, if you're here for the first time, I don't just roll that out. I'm not guessing. All right? I know Georgia politics, and I pay attention. So, this is in Augusta. Okay? Now, right here, he does an interview. In this interview, I mean, the lady is just short of asking him what flavor ice cream. So I went and checked it out. I don't have an answer yet, okay? And here is where the interview is at. It's in Augusta. It's a marketing company, all right? Now, they do community events. They'll go out and they'll highlight community events. So I don't know if this interview was paid for. I don't know 100% if it was paid for, but I know the interview, this company's called What's Up, an innovative approach to marketing. It's an innovative approach to marketing using true reality visual products to share your business or event in a brand new light on television and social media. Reach out today to discover how we can serve you. It's an advertising marketing company. Now that I know for a fact, all right? Now I have asked them if he paid for the interview, all right? I've asked. And I'm going to play the entire interview. It's about 3 minutes long. And this is, to me, I smell a rat, and this is the most, they won't do an interview with me, all right? So I'm thinking that what's happening is they're going to start having these meetings where they try to get interviews that are very favorable. So data centers, there's a couple here. So let's play the interview first. It's about 3 minutes long. We're going to play it. I'm going to break it down, and I want you to listen to data centers first before we go to our next section with him. All right? So let me pull this up, see if I can find it here. Hang tight.
Yes, it has been awesome seeing you speak today. I've enjoyed your talk, and you covered a lot of territory here in Columbia County. I have 3 questions for you today. And first, I want to start out with a very hot issue right now in Columbia County. Columbia County is about to break ground on the largest data center compilation in the United States. And I find it very interesting with your background. This is very uncharted territory as far as the healthcare industry goes. I don't think we've seen long-term studies and things about how these data centers can impact us. Obviously, we know technology is needed and it's required, but there's just not been a lot of scientific studies done, and Columbia County is about to drop these data centers right amongst schools. And I know that children have a very special place in your heart and in your background and in your testimony. So I would like to hear your thoughts on that. And I think even before you answer that, one thing that we definitely have in common is neither one of us are politicians. So I have no idea how far of a governor reach you can have, but I want to get your thoughts on that for the constituents here in Columbia County.
Well, I know about data centers. First of all, it's every community needs to make that decision, okay? But there's a lot of misinformation about data centers. I really believe for the right county and the right situation, data centers can be the best economic decision for them if they structure it correctly. Number one, it's misinformation that it's going to cause your power bill to go. That's not going to be the case because you have to pay, when you come in as a data center, you have to pay in advance for all the equipment. Georgia Power's already recognized it's going to stay the same. Second is if you do it right, it should reduce or almost eliminate your property taxes, because the revenue per square foot of a data center is unbelievable. It's just amazing to me from that standpoint. So I believe if the community's okay, I am comfortable on the science that it's not going to hurt anybody. But I think everybody needs to make their own decision about that. That's their decision. I'm not going to force it on you. I would just tell you that as governor, I would lean into data centers for the right communities because it would drive. If we had a lot of data centers in Georgia, we could reduce at least half of our taxes because of the revenue that comes in. Because it's so, especially for the little amount of space that they take, the revenue per square foot is unbelievable. So obviously it's up to Columbia County to do it. I think a lot of people always fear things they don't understand. I get that. It just so happens that I do understand it. So I think it's a good decision. I haven't seen the actual transaction or know how it's going to work, but it can be a really good idea. So I would support it in the right situation.
Do you feel like the legislation is there for the taxpayers to actually receive those benefits? I think that's the other part is that there we're crossing our fingers and saying our prayers that these things are actually going to go through in the legislation. So what do you see? I know that's not the role of a governor, but what do you see or can you impact that?
Well, I think a governor, I could weigh in as a governor on it. So from my standpoint, it's a little bit like Trump's first book. It's called The Art of the Deal.
Yes.
Okay, so the answer is you don't need the governor and you don't need Atlanta to strike a business transaction for this county that works. Okay, you just basically say you're going to pay certain money to this county or to this city or locale and so forth. So you just build it in, and that's the key, is to make sure that the transaction itself is doing that. Obviously, they're going to be paying taxes because they generate a lot of profit. Okay. And they generate a lot of profit probably for at least the next 10 or 20 years because there's such a huge demand for it, especially for the power. Georgia is in an enviable position as an opportunity because we have some of the best power access of anybody in the country. So if we can capitalize on that, then I think it can be a really good opportunity. And I would encourage people to do more studies, but I do not think they're going to hurt anybody. I really don't.
Well, I respect your opinion because you're an expert in the field. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Second question, maybe a little bit easier. Obviously, in September of 2024, we were greatly impacted by Hurricane Helene. Just being part of independent media, I felt like the whole world didn't even see what happened here in Columbia County, Augusta area, Richmond County, the CSRA as a whole. We drive through our neighborhoods now that were so beautiful, and we see the trees that are still down. I know FEMA and all the things, again, you or I, we don't have political backgrounds, but is there anything else that can be done because we are still overcoming the cleanup and the ramifications of Hurricane Helene? I mean, even our property values and, it's still tough. I mean, it's still tough, and you've probably seen it as you're driving through today, but is there anything that can be done with that?
Well, first of all, you're asking the wrong person because my answer to anything, there always is something you can do. So,
I love that.
But bottom line is that, first of all, I know that Governor Kemp this is really on his heart. I know he's been dealing with the feds and so forth like that. I do not know exactly where those conversations are, but again, that's a business problem.
Yes.
It does not. Political solutions are not as good as business solutions. So, from my standpoint, I know how to identify. Solution most problems, identifying what the problem is, and in my mind, there's always a way to solve something. What I don't know, because I have not been a governor in politics, is all the availability of the federal funds, all those things. But I think there's some commercial realities that I think we could create to help with this, and I have been talking to the timber and the agriculture people and so forth, and I really I'm really pretty optimistic that I'm going to be able to help them, to be honest. But so I don't know what is available here.
Sure, absolutely.
I'm just telling you that I've been solving problems my whole life, and things I didn't know anything about. And so I will look at it in such a way that, and if there is a solution, I know I can do it. Let me put it that way. As I sit here right now, I'm not going to tell you I know it and I don't, but
Absolutely.
but I can tell you if anybody can figure it out, I can figure it out.
That's right. Well, those are two big issues right now in Columbia County. So I thank you for addressing those. Last one is a little bit easier. Why should I vote for you?
Well, if you care about others, people, you ought to vote for me because that's where I'm coming from. I'm a very others first person. I'm not in it for myself. I could care less. You do not have to call me governor. You can call me Rick for the rest of my life because I don't need the power. It's going to cost me money, so I'm not going to get any money out of it. So, and I'm doing it for free. But the main reason is because I care about those people that do not have representation. I have been for the last 15, 18 years helping people that can't help themselves, the foster kids, sexual abuse, pro-life issues and so forth like that. So from my standpoint, I've been doing it already. All I wanted to do is do it for 11 million people because I believe that God has led me to say for the rest of my life I can have more impact doing that. So that's why.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So nice to meet you.
Nice to
Thank
meet
you
you
so
too.
much for hearing your platform today and all that you shared with everyone here in Columbia County. And we appreciate you so much, and we hope to follow you on the campaign trail.
Thank you
Well,
very much. Bye-bye.
That's who wants to be governor. Seriously? Now, I'm all right. I don't think the governor has to be this lifelong politician. Now, I'm going to ask this question. I did send them a message, and I'm asking the campaign, did they pay for this interview? Because, oh my God, really? Or did they pay for this? This is exactly what I will not do here. That's why I don't do candidate interviews. Now, let me break this down just a little bit. Oh, he's doing it for free. He's doing it for free, folks. With the exception of the $1 billion in no-bid contracts. I don't know. I mean, he's doing it for free. Come on. I'm doing it for free. I only raked in $1 billion from the state of Georgia. I'm just using 50 million of it to drive around. What's 50 mil out of $1 billion that you guys sent me? Whew. All right. So, data centers, misinformation. All right. Power won't go up. Eliminate your property tax. All right. We need to lean into data centers. It'll reduce taxes. Taxpayers will receive the benefit. All right. Obviously, he doesn't know much about the authorities, like building authorities, economic authorities that are created in these counties. So I am totally. And then she goes, "Oh, I respect your opinion. You're an expert in the field." Really? An expert in the field? So I'm not impressed one bit with the data center answer. Not at all. And I'll break that down more later, but we have a lot more to do. Because this is not the total point I'm here to make where this is concerned today. But not impressed with the data center answer. All right? And this is Augusta. Now remember, this is the same, right? This is the same location that President Trump met with Brian Kemp to survey storm damage. I mean, everything, I understand a business problem. But if I'm going into Augusta, Georgia, I would at least ask my team, this high-paid team, hey, what's in the area? What do I need to know? What do I need to know about GEMA, FEMA? What do I need to know about KEMP, federal government, about hurricane damage? I mean, that's 101. Now, the other thing, just let's gloss over, if data centers are that great, if they are, and they won't increase power, and if they don't, and if they're going to bring in all this money, then why is he attacking Burt Jones over data centers? I don't know, because here they're great. Now, I'm just saying. So let's go past that for just a minute. When is someone going to, because I'm going to wrap this up, because here's what's frustrating me. When is someone going to do a story about how his business works? I'm researching another side of the story on how this works. I'm not prepared to bring it, but I asked a question because I've been studying. Jackson Healthcare, I asked if Jackson Healthcare has a contract with the federal government. Yes, Jackson Healthcare Government Services, based in Alpharetta, Georgia, has been awarded a $2.62 billion contract with the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. $2.62 billion contract from ICE. Key details. Purpose to provide comprehensive medical staffing services at various ICE detention facilities. The timeline, multi-year agreement, primary performance period running from September 1st, 2023 to August 31st, 2028. He had this contract if this is correct, because this is what I want to break down. Trump got elected November 2024. I want to break this down. Trump got elected. I want you to go research this. I will do more research. Trump got elected, right? November 2024. And Jackson, and he was sworn in January 20th of 2025. Is that correct? Yeah, right? 2020. Yeah. So if Jackson got this contract, hold on, let's do this. Let's see if we can get this. Just give me a second. Let's see if we could do this briefly. Let's just see if we could do this briefly. Did the Biden administration give Jackson Healthcare the ICE contract in 2023? So let's see. It appears Jackson Health Systems, right? Yeah, government. Jackson Healthcare Government Services. Okay. Jackson Healthcare Government Services, a private company based in Alpharetta. Right, based in Alpharetta. In 2023, ICE medical staffing contract. In August of 2023, the U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement awarded a massive $2.6 billion indefinite delivery, right? The primary award. The main contract was awarded to Loyal Source Government Services based in Orlando, Florida. Jackson Healthcare's role, all right, government services based private firm, was also a key participant while its initial protest certificate of all right 2023 Jackson Healthcare System, a public nonprofit, Jackson Healthcare, contacts a Biden administration. So just saying, now let me just say this: AI. Not that we see this here, but AI. You got to double check. But this is what it says here: Jackson Healthcare Services, based in Alpharetta, has been awarded a $2.6 billion contract with them. Purpose, timeline, scope, the contract. Clinic, non-clinic staffing across the Department of Homeland Security. So, do your research. Do your own. Do your own research. I keep sending this to news outlets and say, is this, when I say, is this true? Hey, is this true? Go look it up. Go look it up. Now, this is where Augusta, Georgia, in this room right here, this is what I'm told. In this room right here, is where the question was asked about Liz Cheney. And I'm being told that it was a setup. That's what I'm being told. It was a setup. But, and I've been told that they wanted this question asked about Liz Cheney so he can get it out of the way. And the exact answer that was given to me on the phone yesterday is exactly what is read here on the report that I pulled. First of all, Rick Jackson, the Georgia healthcare executive and current candidate for Georgia governor, has made significant donations to Liz Cheney's political causes. Now, here's where my problem lies with this guy right here. Here's where it lies, all right? I'm tired of seeing Donald Trump. I'm tired of hearing he's going to be this great Donald Trump governor friend. Tired of it. I'm tired of him soliciting your vote under the guise of a Donald Trump supporter. If anyone he gave money to would had their way, Donald Trump would not have been reelected and even possibly in jail. Do you remember Cassie Hutchinson, right? Giving false testimony to the J6, right? Do you remember Brad Raffensperger giving testimony to J6 committee? Do you remember do you remember any of these people that went up there to Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger, the select committee that Nancy Pelosi put up? Do you? Because according to the answer, Rick Jackson seems as though he wasn't aware all this was going on. That's not the quote. I'll get to it. All right. He had made significant donations to Liz Cheney's political causes, and several of these contributions occurred while she served the January 6th committee. Here's the breakdown, the timeline. Committee service. Committee service. Liz Cheney served as the vice chair of the select committee to investigate the January 6th attack from its inception in January 2021 until it was dissolved in January 2023. I know people that went to jail over January 6th just for walking around. The donations, campaign finance records show that Jackson and his associates, donated to Cheney during 2022 election cycle. Specifically, he supported her Great Task PAC, a leadership PAC she used to fund her political efforts and support other candidates while she was the face of the January 6th investigation. See? I'm telling you. Recent context. The history of financial support has become a major talking point in the 2026 Georgia gubernatorial primary. Jackson's opponent, Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones, has used these donations to label Jackson a never-Trumper. All right? So, he made these donations, and it's become a contentious point. So I understand that in Augusta, he wanted to get this out of the way. He wanted to answer it. Do you see it in the AJC? No. Maybe because every time I pull up the AJC, there's 97, 11, 42, 18 Jackson ads. I don't know. Do you see this on 11 Alive at night? No. So here's the next point. Why it's a point of contention. The donations are notable because Cheney's work on the January 6th committee made her a polarizing figure within the GOP, while Jackson's supporters view her donations as a sign of principled traditional conservatism. His political rivals point to the timing at the height of the committee's televised hearings as evidence of his opposition to Donald Trump. So he knows this. He knows this one's hot. Nikki Haley, Jeb Bush, but the Liz Cheney one, this one's hot. Right? You do understand that if Nikki Haley becomes president of the United States, and I'm going to look you in the eye, are you looking at me? Because I really feel that in the primary, Brian Kemp and Marty Kemp voted for Nikki Haley. That's their right. That's their right. But you do know that while the wheelbarrow and the shovel of cash, while Geoff Duncan's lieutenant governor and Brian Kemp is governor, and the $1 billion was getting rolled up Highway 400, flying out the window, there was so much cash going to Jackson Healthcare in the number of $1 billion. You also know he had that multi-billion-dollar, he had already struck a multi-billion-dollar deal with the feds with ICE. Check it out for yourself. He didn't need Donald Trump to be president. To keep the cash flowing, in my opinion, because attorneys are standing by, to keep the cash flowing, he needs the transition to go from Brian Kemp to Geoff Duncan. Maybe even Brad Raffensperger. But definitely not Burt Jones. That's a lot of money, folks. When you start $1 billion and $2 billion and $3 billion and $1.2 billion, that's a lot of cheddar. What's the kid say? Cheddar? That's a lot of cheddar, right? Whatever, I don't know. But if he cannot squash the Liz Cheney, that could be a problem. So let's keep going here, right? So in Augusta, they asked the question. Get ready. So the January 6th committee link. Records confirm Jackson and his associates made contribution to Cheney's Great Task PAC during the 2022 election cycle. This is significant because the PAC was Cheney's primary vehicle for her political activities, right? As at the height, she was getting this money at the height of her work as vice chair of the January 6th Select Committee, right? Jackson was asked, we're going to get to this next one. Let's go to the next one. The donation amounts. According to campaign finance reports and receipts, investigation covers of Georgia race, Great Task PAC, Rick Jackson and entities related to his firm, Jackson Healthcare, contributed thousands of dollars to Liz Cheney's leadership PAC, while these individual donations are often smaller than his $1 million PAC to limited the FEC rules for individual PACs gifts to $5,000 is a symbolism and timing that his opponents have highlighted. All right, that was the Donald Trump million. These contributions occurred during the 2020 election cycle, which directly overlapped with Cheney's most high-profile work as vice chair of the January 6th Select Committee. Now, here's the key dates. February 6, 2021. See, here's what I want you to see first. Wait a minute. Here's what I want you to see first, right? I have it here. So, in Augusta, the question was asked, hey, I don't like, and in the room, hey, let me ask you a question. This is not a quote. What about the money you gave Liz Cheney? I don't know. We don't like that here in Georgia. I mean, what about the money you gave Liz Cheney? What about that, right? I'm glad you asked that question, as though I don't know what's coming. Maybe you didn't, but maybe you did. Maybe you didn't know it was coming. I'm glad you asked. You see, I have to just explain this. This coincides, what I'm about to read to you, almost word for word of what I was told on the phone. Rick Jackson's defense regarding his Liz Cheney donations has become a defining test case for his 2026 Georgia gubernatorial campaign. In a primary, right? In a primary where he is running as a MAGA businessman. Now, this is where I get angry. Don't try to fool MAGA. Don't pretend you're MAGA. Don't go after that vote. Because, see, here's the thing I'm going to get to is every single date and time I'm telling you, Liz Cheney, right? Donald Trump getting arrested, the 2020 election, all the way back in 2016, Jeb Bush, you and I supported Donald Trump. Painstakingly, many of you out there went through a lot trying to defend Donald Trump, even up to the point of almost going to prison. So here he goes. Rick Jackson's defense regarding his Liz Cheney donations have become a defined test case for his 2026 gubernatorial campaign in a primary where he's running as a MAGA businessman. While his opponent, Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones, holds the official endorsement of President Trump, Jackson has adopted a specific three-pronged defense. The big tent defense. This is what he did, all right? Jackson has consistently argued on the campaign trail that his past donations were about supporting the Republican Party as a whole. Now, except Donald Trump. I'm sorry. They were to support the Republican Party as a whole, except Donald Trump. Now, keep this in mind, when Geoff Duncan ran for lieutenant governor, now wait a minute. Now wait a minute. Hold on. I'll be damn it. I knew it. Damn it to hell. Wait a minute. When Geoff Duncan ran as lieutenant governor, Rick Jackson gave the Georgia GOP, I understand off the top of my head, $100,000. But that was for the Georgia GOP to take the $100,000 and try to get Geoff Duncan's ass across the finish line for none other than Rick Jackson. But now, are we friends here? Can we be honest with one another? Can we just talk here? You are aware that I'm not a big Kelly Loeffler fan. Now, we don't have time to go into the Wayback Machine, but you are aware that I'm not this great, large Kelly Loeffler fan, right? Okay. Even though I'm not, for the 80th, 11th, 16th, 48th time, a Kelly Loeffler fan, even though I'm not, she created that Greater Georgia thing, and she put $1 million or whatever to get out the vote for Donald Trump in 2024. She funded a lot of stuff. She gave the Georgia GOP money to get the vote out. He gave money to get the vote out to the Georgia GOP for Geoff Duncan. But then his ass didn't give jack shit for Donald Trump to get the vote out. No, he didn't give jack shit until December of 2025, when this team in the back room probably was assembled. What will we need to do? We got, first and foremost, we got to give Trump some money. Can't run as a Trump candidate and they can't find anything. Yeah, let's do that. Throw $1 million. What's that in the course of $1 billion and $2 billion and $3 billion, right? The big tent defense. Jackson has consistently argued on the campaign trail that his past donations were about supporting the Republican Party as a whole rather than endorsing the specific views of any one individual. You sure about that? You sure about that? His stance. You sure about that? His stance. He frames himself a pro-business conservative who has historically given, who has historically given the wide range of Republicans to ensure the party remains competitive. You sure about that? Now, here's the pivot. He often tells voters that his primary goal, now listen, this is almost word for word what he said. And if there's a recording out there, get me the recording. Well, I know he said he signs the checks, because I don't want to quote anything, but he often tells voters that his primary goal has always been defeating Democrats, and that his financial support for Cheney and Jeb Bush and Nikki Haley was a reflection of his status as a top GOP donor, not a personal endorsement of the January 6th committee. Just Republicans. Hey, I'm out here for Republicans, man. Come on. So, if you were out there supporting the Republicans, wouldn't you check, Wouldn't you check to make sure that Liz Cheney is a Republican? Because I will tell you this. The Wyoming Republican Party took two major actions to distance themselves from Liz Cheney, not Rick Jackson. They did. Both occurring while she was a vocal critic of Donald Trump shortly after the January 6th committee began work. Now, this is where it's critical. The key dates, February 6, 2021, she was censured. Just 1 month after the Capitol riot, the Wyoming GOP Central Committee voted overwhelmingly to censure Cheney. This was a formal slap on the wrist for her vote to impeach Donald Trump. So this man, she votes to impeach Donald Trump. She's on the January 6th committee. Ready? November 13, 2021 was the removal. On November 13th, 2021, keep this in mind, all right? In a more dramatic move, the Wyoming GOP State Central Committee voted 31-29 to no longer recognize her as a member of the Republican Party. Oh, by the way, anyone in the Jackson campaign, Mr. Jackson, yourself or whatever, I actually know the Wyoming Republican Party. Isn't that just a fluke? I actually know the person that wrote the censure. I actually know the person that wrote the language for the party to remove her. Isn't that just, isn't that a coincidence? Or as my son used to say when he was little, it's a coinkadink, right? Ain't that just a coinkadink there? That's a real coinkadink, right? So, considering this ongoing coinkadink, November 13th, 2021, in a more dramatic move, the Wyoming GOP State Central Committee voted 31-29 to no longer recognize her as a member of the Republican Party. While this was a symbolic move, they couldn't legally strip her of her party registration. It signaled that the state party apparatus had completely severed ties with her. August 16, 2022, she was defeated. The final removal occurred at the ballot box. Now, timing relevant to Rick Jackson's donations. The timing is exactly why Rick Jackson's donations have become such a heated issue in the 2026 run for Georgia governor. By the time, now listen to this, check me out, do your own research. By the time the 2020 election cycle arrived, when Jackson was contributing to Cheney's PAC, she had already been formally disowned by her own state party. His opponents, like Burt Jones, argued Jackson wasn't just supporting a different kind of Republican, but was specifically funding someone who had been officially cast out of the Georgia GOP base. He's funding her, right? He's funding her. She's kicked out of the party. He's funding her. She has voted. She has voted, right? She voted to impeach Donald Trump. She's on the January 6th committee. Cassie Hutchinson. All the false testimony. Brad Raffensperger. In 2022, I don't have the exact time, but don't forget, I think it's 72 or 76. Have to be careful. Attorneys are standing by. I don't know if it was 72 or 76. But remember, in 2022, at the same time, Liz Cheney has the January 6th committee. Holy mackerel, Batman. Son of a gun. No, that's not correct. That's not 100% correct. The exact dates. I want to get my dates right. I'll get those back and put it up. But don't forget, in 2022, he donated, not he, quote, his wife, according to records, donated $7,200 or $7,600 to Brad Raffensperger. So The reason I bring this up is I'm not okay. All right? I'm not okay with continuing this right here, right? Save America Act. We must pass it. You know, I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired of politicians talking about Save America Act, but don't do what it takes to get it to President Trump's desk. Just run for governor. I'm okay with that. I'm honestly okay with that. Run for governor. It's America. Pay your qualifying fee, get on the ballot, run for governor. Stop running around. You can't answer the questions about the data centers, right? My hang up here is stop. I don't want to see a fake campaign. I mean fake. I don't want to see it staged. If you're being paid out there, disclose you're being paid. Just do it. If you're a county chair somewhere, okay? If you're first vice chair of a county, second vice chair of a county chair, whatever it may be, right? If you're getting paid, just say it. But staging questions in a room, now I'm going to say one more time that I understand. I don't know, possibly paid interviews, right? This is the room the question about Liz Cheney was asked, and it has come to me that was a setup. And it just bothers me how bad Liz and Dick Cheney, it bothers me. You know, the two damn people in the world that friggin' endorsed. I mean, I'll be damned. I knew this was going to happen. My shoulder hurts. The two damn people he gives money to, Liz Cheney and Geoff Duncan, endorsed Kamala Harris. I got to make sure of that I knew this was going to happen when I started. I got so angry today because I tried to be nice. I mean, I think you know me out there, right? Right? I try to be nice. It's in here. I promise it is. Let me see. Did Liz endorse Kamala Harris? Liz Cheney invokes January 6th as she touts endorsement for Harris in Wisconsin. Serenity now. Serenity now. I'm about to do an Elizabeth. I'm coming, Elizabeth. I'm coming. Coming to meet you. Out on the campaign trail. Endorsed Liz Cheney, Dick Cheney. Liz Cheney, Dick Cheney endorsed Kamala Harris. Geoff Duncan endorsed Kamala Harris. I'm going to I want a stronger condemnation. Is that condemning? I want something very strong from Rick Jackson. Condemning. Here's what I want. Here's exactly what I want. Because I'm nice. I really am. I am. I promise you, I'm very nice. I gave what I call like a 30-day honeymoon to the campaign. I did. I gave a 30-day. I gave a 30-day. This guy seems sincere. I went to the kickoff. Let's see how he comes out of the box. I like how he's talking. I like how he wants to take down the political cartel. I like some of the things he say. So I gave it like this 30-day gray area, right? I really did. I gave it like a 30-day gray area. And then I said, you know, in that 30 days, I said, I'm going to see if I can figure out why myself he's running for governor, if I can figure it out, so I could talk to you. I've offered the campaign over and over and over. I need him to strongly and forcefully come out and say, I will do anything I can not to stop, just stop. See, he's out there with these ads about Keisha Lance Bottoms. I get it. He's out there with these ads about Keisha Lance Bottoms. I want him to come out forcefully in one of these crowds and say, I will spend every dime I can to make sure a Democrat is not elected governor in Georgia. Even if, I want to tell you, even if I'm not your nominee, I'm a Republican, I will make sure there's not a Democrat. If something happens, you don't choose me as your nominee, I will put my money in. I won't go home and take my ball and go home. I will put my money in, and I will make sure a Republican beats a Democrat. Because I'll tell you right now, you might not like some of our Republicans on the list. Hell, I don't like some of them myself. But I'll be damned if I would let Kamala Harris or Geoff Duncan get in that governor's office. I'll give every dime I got before I let them go in my governor's office here in Georgia. I want to hear that. I want to hear that. I do. I got to move on. I got so upset. The thing that bothers me with all of this, and I mean every single bit of this, is why does he get to come out of the fire okay? He's financed. I've been to his office. It's a palace. Yes, no. This guy's got a palace. This guy don't have a home. He don't have an office. He don't have a corporate office. He has a palace. No S-H-I asterisk. I've been there. I'm like, ooh, wow. This guy got billions of dollars flowing down the hallway of the palace, right? Just saying. You know, when COVID hit, and you and I didn't know if we're going to lose our jobs, we lost businesses, they shut the doors, right? When you and I went through the inflation and lived through the damn Obama years, we lived through that hell. Can't make ends meet, as they say. Can't pay the bills. You and I have gone through the fire of the 2020 election. Every single fire that we walk through, like we have bare feet on coals. And he's a Johnny come lately or a Rick. He is Rick come lately. That's who he is. He's a Rick come lately. He's a Rick after the fact. That's who he is. Rick after the fact. Hello, my name is Rick Jackson after the fact. After the fact that you went through everything, because I didn't. They shoveled billions of dollars my way during COVID. I saved you guys. Why, when Brian Kemp picked up the phone, I said, well, hold on. Let me put my steak knife down. Yes, Mr. Governor, I shall save the state. And you are welcome. I'm sorry. Maybe that was being just a total asshole. I'm sorry. That's where I'm at today. I am flying off the rails, saying things I should not be saying, using words I should not be using. Well, I am going to Macon tomorrow, and they invited me for prayer. Thank God for that. 'Cause I need it. But anyhow, while we were the Coles, we don't know if our business is closing. Let me tell you something. You know why Rick Jackson, and I'm not blaming Rick Jackson, okay? I'm not, all right? But when Rick Jackson was getting a deal and telling me he saved the state of Georgia, but $1 billion made it his way, my dad died with COVID. And I'm not blaming this on Rick Jackson. I'm going to be very, very clear, all right? And you know what? We couldn't have a funeral for my dad. And I get it, all right? I get it. And I'll say it over and over and over again. I have family friends that called their parents died. Family members died. And Rick Jackson didn't do that. All I'm saying is all the fires that you and I went through, he did not. He's Rick Jackson come along lately. Yes, come along. He can support Trump now. He's never been heckled. He's never been talked down to because he wore a red hat, right? I'm probably getting out here where I'm not even making sense of what I want to say anymore. I just don't go and tell these people you support Trump. Don't do it. I have issues with Trump today myself on some things. But do not tell the voters you are a Brian Kemp. That's okay. That's what really angers me. That's okay. Run as a Brian Kemp next governor. Get out there. You see, I know what the hell you're doing is what your problem is with me. Because you want to get on the ballot. You see, I'm going to tell you right now what's about to happen. He did not know us before. And I'm going to tell you, MAGA, you think he's going to know your ass after he gets on that ballot going towards November? You think so? No, he's already got your vote. You're in the tank. You put him on the ballot. A man that did not know me on Monday claims he knows me on Tuesday. I guarantee his ass will disappear on Wednesday. Oh, yeah. He only needs to know me a certain period of time. That's all he needs to know. Just a certain period. Once he can get past that, he doesn't need to know me. He doesn't need to know you. He doesn't need to go to Golden Corral any longer. And the reason this level of frustration is hit is because after he said he was running, I sent the campaign message after message. I'd like to sit down with Mr. Jackson. I'm going to give him a fair, If Mr. Jackson wanted to say, look, I was wrong. I should have supported Trump from the beginning. I made a lot of mistakes. Whatever. We went through all the fires, and now he wants to be with us on the other side of what we went through, and claims he's with us. I guess that's all I'm saying. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. So, I don't think I want to go back to that picture. I don't want to make people mad. All right, folks, don't forget, I'm not going to quit right now because I have a real quick story, a couple quick stories I want to do. Here is, don't forget, we're in the legislative session. And the legislative session, here you go. We are, what's today? Wednesday, the 37th day, March 25th. Tomorrow there'll be no session. And there you go. Let me see where I want to go now. They are counting the days. They don't need you, and they don't need Trump. And they will use you and they will use Trump up to that day. Ready? One more time. They are counting the days that they don't need you and they don't need Donald Trump. And they will use you and Donald Trump until that day. And not another day longer. All right, so I'm going to do a full story on this. I absolutely love this right here. You know, I'm not going to do a full story on this. Trump was out at Graceland the other day, and here's Elvis Trump. But I will not be doing a show tomorrow, Thursday. I'm going to be at the Bibb County. Go to Bibb County GOP. It's 6 o'clock tomorrow night. Go to their Facebook page. I'm going to be at Bibb County GOP tomorrow night with my good friends down there in Macon. So I will not be able to do, and then on Friday I will have a nice lengthy edition, what I call a weekend read. I put up a very long one Friday that a lot of people, they said it was long, but the video and the article they can go back to 2 or 3 times and pick it up, and it made a nice weekend read. I'm going to be doing that because here's a story I'm going to do over the weekend. I have always told you, and it's starting to develop. Remember this, right? I have told you that there was a deal. You're not, if you're new to the show, there you go. But I've always told this audience there was a deal, okay? There was a deal made at this handshake down there outside of Augusta, Georgia. I always say Valdosta, but it was outside of Augusta. It's at Evans, Georgia, where they met, that Brian Kemp and Donald Trump met, and it was on October 4th, 2024. I've always told this audience there was a deal made that day. Now, I know it for a fact. Now, this guy came out with an article, and this is the story I'm going to do in depth tomorrow or Friday. The White House National Republican, this is Reese Gorman. He is with Notice. I think it's Notice. The White House National Republicans and Governor Brian Kemp agreed to work to find a consensus candidate in the Georgia Senate race. Now, I cannot tell this story without telling the part that involves Mike Collins in the 10th District. And I can't get all wound up twice in one day. So here's what's going to happen. This is an article. If you want to go read this, Republicans are mad. Brian Kemp is standing by his Georgia Senate endorsement. The Georgia governor's pick to take on John Ossoff, Derek Dooley, is polling in a distant third and could likely force an expensive runoff in the must-win state. I'm going to tell you where he's got this article wrong. I sent this guy a full email. The problem with why Donald Trump and Brian Kemp, I got to give it to you, the problem with why Brian Kemp and Donald Trump did not agree on a Senate candidate was very simple. It was who gets the spoils that fall off the table from the fundraising. Brian Kemp gives up no fundraising money, zero, gives up none. If Brian Kemp's working on something, that fundraising is going through his machine, and Donald doesn't get to touch it. I'm telling you, that's the reason the story goes like that. There was a deal. We'll talk about that. I'm going to hold that one until Friday. Now, here's the story I want to get into because I'm nervous about the 18th, or I'm worried about. I'm concerned. Where's my words here? I'm concerned about the April 7th runoff vote in the 14th district. Now, yesterday, if you go back yesterday and look at my Substack, I'm laying it out, the 9th district and the 14th district. I'm laying it right out for you. And I told you my concerns in the 14th district yesterday. So I'm going to give you this. This ties together. This is Emily Gregory. She's a Democrat. She defeated John Maples, the Republican in Florida, for the Florida House District 87 special election. All right. Now, I know people are going to say, oh, it's a special election. But she flipped this seat. All right. She flipped the state house seat. Happens to be at Mar-a-Lago. Now, this guy here, Navy veteran Brian Nathan, Democrat, defeated Josie Tompkins, Republican in Florida State Senate District 14 yesterday. All right? Just saying. Now, what are some of the significance of this? I know everybody's going to tell me, well, it's a one-off, right? Florida House, let's start here. Florida House District 87, Palm Beach County. The race was a headline grabber because the district is where Donald Trump maintains primary residence, Mar-a-Lago. The winner, Emily Gregory, a first-time candidate and public health professional, fitness businesswoman. The results, Gregory defeated Republican John Maples by approximately 2.4%. Why it matters. The swing. The seat was previously held by a Republican, Mike Caruso, who won it by 19 points. The Republican won it by 19 points in 2022. That is a 21-point shift, right? This represents a massive double-digit swing towards Democrat. Donald Trump endorsed her opponent right there at Mar-a-Lago. The endorsement, President Trump personally endorsed Maples and even voted in the election by mail, voted by mail, yet Gregory still secured the win. Historical context. This is the first time a Democrat has represented this area from Palm Beach County in this century. That's not a big deal. We're okay. All right? Now, here's the other one. Florida Senate District 14, Hillsborough, over there at Tampa. While Mar-a-Lago flip took spotlight, Democrats also claimed a seat in Florida Senate. The winner, Brian Nathan, a Navy veteran, right? Electrical worker, organizer. The result, Nathan narrowly defeated Republican State Representative Josie Tompkins by 408 votes. Why it matters. Voter turnout. Voter turnout. Listen to this. Republicans held a significant registration advantage in this district. Much like the 14th, the 9th, the 10th. Republicans held a significant registration advantage in the district. Early voting data suggested Republicans' edge, but a surge in Democrat and independent election day turnout pushed him over the top. All right? So, now, I wanted to ask one more question to AI. Donald Trump won this district in 2024, right? While the district has Republican lean, the margin by which he won is significantly smaller than in other GOP strongholds in Florida. Donald Trump won the 2024 presidential election, carried this district by roughly 7.5%, the district. Now, Donald Trump also won, let me get this up, I'm pretty sure I have it here, the Palm Beach. All right. The Senate, Donald Trump won the Senate, and he won the Florida House District 87. He won both, Donald Trump won both these districts. One is Mar-a-Lago, one is Tampa. Democrats took both of them. One district, the Democrat flipped by 21 points from last time. And Donald Trump endorsed the lady that was running in the state house. Well, that doesn't matter. Well, I guess it doesn't matter, right? Because that's what I keep hearing. And that's my concern when I'm out on the campaign trail. If Democrats can win in Trump's backyard, we sure as hell can win anywhere across the country. The DNC chair put that out last night. Sean Harris for Congress. The 14th district, the runoff. If Democrats can win in Trump's backyard, we sure as hell can win anywhere across the country. Ken Martin, DNC chair, right? So here is Sean Harris. I live right here in northwest Georgia, and I'm running to be your next congressman. Let me play his video. Let's see. Let me play his video. I want to play Sean Harris's video. Hold on just a second, folks.
My name is Sean Harris, and come April 7th, I'm going to be your new congressman. That's who I am. That's who I am. USA, 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 USA. And I live right here in Rockmart, Georgia. And I'm proud to say that I live in Northwest Georgia. If you live in Northwest Georgia, I guarantee you, I'm happy that you're here today. But you paid a lot for gas, or you paid a lot for diesel today. You, like everybody else in Georgia, is struggling to try to make ends meet. This is why Sean Harris is fighting for you and running to be your next congressman. Because in this district, we have been left behind. We got to put in the work. I got to put in the work. I will never ask you to do something that I won't do. The way we're going to win it is simple. More than cited Democrats that are getting out and knocking on doors. Independents going to flip my way. And yes, Republicans that the Republican Party has left behind are also voting for me. So it will be a coalition of us that actually win this thing they call CD14. So let me hear you cheer for that.
Damn. I'm just saying. April 7th. I'm just saying, April 7th. All right. Folks, I'll be in Macon. I got to wrap this up. I got, every once in a while you got to get a little mud on the tires, and I guess that's what I did today. I have to tell you, I think I got a little mud on the tires today. I'm your host, BKP. You're watching BKP Politics on voiceofruralamerica.com. Don't forget our Substack, Vora at BKP Politics. Don't forget Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, X, Voice of Rural America. If you want to get your campaign logo on the show, we do not endorse candidates, okay? But if you want to get your campaign logo on the show, get with me. Now, tomorrow night, I will not be writing a Substack, all right? Because I'm going to be driving 3.5 hours to Bibb County, right? Bibb County, Georgia, Macon. And I want you to come up there. If you're in the 2nd District, the 8th District, 12th District, wherever you're at, if you're close, come up there. I am putting together a detailed report on the Georgia Republican Party, a detailed report. And as much as I can. I mean, usually I do 3-4 hour presentations, and, they got me at 45 minutes, so I have to, cut it back. But just joking, please come join us. I'd love to meet you, say hello, Bibb County Republican Party meeting, 6 p.m. tomorrow night. Now, the other thing is, I'm going to, if you can't be there, I'm going to do my presentation live on Facebook. So if you live north of Atlanta and you can't come down and say hello and be in the room, I'm going to do a Facebook Live on Voice of Rural America Facebook page. All right. And then Friday, I will do a new Substack video where I will give you the complete layout on the Senate with this article that's out that they're talking about. That's it. Tell me your opinion. Tell me what you think. Tell me where you think I should be looking. Hey, I hear what you're saying, but whatever. You know me out there. You know I want to hear it. You know I'm open to listening. Whatever. Hey, I have a hard time when Liz Cheney and Geoff Duncan and Dick Cheney endorse freaking Kamala Harris, and I don't know. If you didn't go through the fire with me and walk over the broken glass and we got to the other side, it's just a little bit of a struggle. I'll see you tomorrow if you come and see me. Share the Substack. God bless America. God bless Georgia. God bless you. Whatever.
What happens in Georgia gets revealed one by one as the facts are unsealed. From the pit comes what they don't want you to see. When the daily nugget of truth is dropped with your host, BKP.